As a parent, the NICU can feel very overwhelming and intimidating. But since you are the most important person in your baby's life, it's essential to take an active role in your baby's care. This is part 2 of Feeding Your Baby in the NICU. We'll focus on the wonders of breast milk and commonly asked pumping and breastfeeding questions by parents like you. So together, let's get started navigating the ins and outs of breast milk.
We know breast milk is great for all human babies. In the general population, it improves neurodevelopmental outcomes. So it raises IQ, it helps kids do better in school. So that's obviously important for all kids. But in our preemie population, it has much more kind of exciting powers. It reduces something called NEC, which is the long word is necrotizing enterocolitis. That's a long kind of scary word that means this gut problem that we see in prem babies that can make their tummies very sick. It also reduces chronic lung disease, so the breathing problems we see when babies are on the ventilator for a long time. Parents' own milk can help reduce that risk. And it also improves ROP, so the eye problems that we see with prems.
Nearly all mothers worry that they may not have enough breast milk for their babies, or if they have a preterm baby, that their body may not be ready to produce milk. Work with your baby's nurse or lactation consultant if you have any of those fears.
So colostrum, which is the very first milk that a parent makes after delivery, that actually can be found in the breast as early as 16 weeks, so well before even a premature baby will be born.
But even if you are ready for breastfeeding, your preterm baby is not. Usually it's only after the 32nd week when your baby is able to coordinate suck, swallow, and breathe. And without the stimulus of your baby's suction, the breast won't produce milk. That's why pumping is needed to program the breast to provide the milk your baby needs.
But it's critical as soon as possible after delivery, ideally within the first hour, but definitely within the first 6 hours after delivery, to start programming the breast. And that's either with a double electric pump or for the baby who's able to feed at breast with the baby.
Ah, the hum of the pump. Get used to the sound. It will become all too familiar in time. Your preterm baby will receive the pump milk via a feeding tube until they're ready to feed at the breast. For moms, it's hard work. Ideally, you should pump every 2 to 3 hours, a minimum of 8 times daily, and at least once at night. With continued pumping, the milk supply will start to increase.
We know pumping can be very challenging. The most important thing is to have a good quality pump, especially for moms that deliver early. They often will need this pump for weeks to sometimes months before babies can actually feed at breast effectively. And so you need a high quality pump to be able to program the breast, again, to make good supplies of milk. Ideally, you can rent one from the hospital or borrow one from the hospital, so a hospital grade pump. The suction is much better. Otherwise, any double electric pump is the next best. And if you pump with a double electric pump, that means you're pumping both breasts at the same time.
Mothers can also do hand expression to get the milk out by massaging and compressing the breast.
And especially for colostrum, which is quite thick, it can be helpful to get that milk out. That being said, I always recommend pumping in addition to hand expression, because hand expression gets the milk out but doesn't have suction. And suction, which you get with a baby's mouth or with an electric pump, is really critical for changing the hormone levels in the mom's body that then helps make more milk and tells the body, programs the breast to make milk.
Even if you're taking certain medications, your milk is still good for your baby.
Some moms think that if they're on antibiotics or if they're on opiate medications after delivery, for example, that they can't breastfeed. That's actually not true. There are very, very few medications that are truly contraindicated or not allowed with breastfeeding.
Your doctor and LC or lactation consultant can help determine if certain medications you are taking are safe for your baby. And if for some reason, after that discussion, you find out you can't provide breast milk, there are alternatives.
The next best thing is donor milk. So donor milk is human milk that's taken from volunteers, so moms who have an extra supply. It's almost always moms of term babies who are older, like usually around 6 months or so is the average age when moms have just usually a freezer full of milk. They're not going to get through it, and so they kindly donate it to milk banks.
Donors are thoroughly screened for diseases or use of prohibited substances, and the milk is pasteurized. Having support during your NICU feeding journey can make all the difference. Attending pumping classes and connecting with other NICU parents is a great way to learn and feel more comfortable. The Canadian Premature Babies Foundation website has great breastfeeding resources for preemie parents like you, and your lactation consultant or bedside nurse and medical team will be there to answer all your questions, show you what to do, and encourage you every step of the way. Thanks for watching. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Take breaks, eat right, and reach out. Support is all around you. You are not alone.